I am Barbara Nussmann, David Nussmann's sister. And when I got the opportunity that I could do a Zoom and say something to a lot of you people, I said, that's great. And then I said, but I don't want my cluttered kitchen to be a background for that. So I said, okay, I know you can get other backgrounds. So a cousin talked me into how to get there and everything, although I had to change computers in order to do it. And then I said you could pick your own picture. So I went in and I just picked up a picture and it was like, oh, okay. Gee, should I really use a ocean background? And then I said, wait a minute. This picture was taken from a beach house that was called Stairway to Heaven. And it also is a place where some of my sister's ashes are. So I think it's very appropriate to be my background too. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about David's families, and it's very much plural. He was born in May 8th, 1937. I've said that date many, many times lately, and in Burlington, Iowa. And then at some point, I'm not even sure how old he was, moved to Rochester, New York, where my sister and I were born. Now, on both sides of the family, he was the first godchild. So he got to be the only one for a while, but more of them came on later, and I'm not sure how spoiled he might have been or not. On my father's side, there were 5 siblings, and those 5 siblings actually covered the United States from east to west. And so it was hard back then to visit, but they did. They would visit each other. There was a round robin where the letters went from one to another. And there was also the 3-minute telephone call, which you had to, because we couldn't talk more than 3 minutes because it was going to cost extra. They were made, and of course the family really stayed close together. And let's see, we started some 75th birthdays and then 50th birthdays, and we're still doing some of that. Now, in 1951, we moved to St. Louis, which was where my mother's sibling, she was one of 9. And they were pretty much all there. So here we had family close. We did things with them every month. There would be some activity, or I should say some gathering, and we'd celebrate births, graduations, birthdays, and any other little things, celebrations we'd do. And then there was also Brafey's Market, which was a place where actually David became a butcher. And it was my grandfather's and my uncles, and people would even gather there on a Friday or Saturday night, and we'd get whatever wasn't going to hold for the weekend. So that was kind of fun too. So there was very much family in that. And although the family is scattered a lot now, we still stay together. And actually, we've been having some Zoom meetings. And then Dave went to Harvard and then went to the University of Michigan and got his PhD. And then went to Houston, Texas, and got a job there. And for the most part, that's where he stayed. He was in New Orleans for about 2 years. But in Houston, he joined the Houston Symphony Orchestra and First Congregational Church. And there he found, I think he found his other families, and he would refer to them as his families. And he got to have his love of singing and his love of history, and he did those in both places. And it was very evident to me when I visited him one time. He had some physical problems, and I had to go, well, first of all, I had to find somebody to fix the door on his house when the police had to get in. And so I called the church and I got Jane, and it was like from there on, it was things were taken care of. And I did come down, and then other people helped out, and he knew people that he could ask help of, and who could do this and who could do that. So that was great. Let's see, what are my other little things here? So I wanted to thank all of you who are here in person, and all of you who could come via technology, and say how I'm glad that all his families could join in this. And I'm not having one other little thing that I want to go through. Toward the end, I could tell that Dave he really couldn't carry on a conversation. There were 2 times he said something to me that made me very happy. He said, "Everything's okay." And then he said, "I'm happy." That was at another time. But other than that, we didn't really have conversations, but I would try to talk to him once in a while. And then toward the end, I said, "Wait a minute. I know he's not going to carry on a conversation with me, but I could sing some hymns to him." So I got out. This isn't going to show up too well on here, I don't think, but it's there. Hymns of Faith and Light in my copy. And so I took that and I started just going through it, singing whatever I could sing. I didn't know all of them, but and definitely not as well as he could sing. But and I don't really know, if he had any reaction or not. This is one thing that COVID really bugged me with it. You couldn't have, company come in or guests, visitors, and that. But at least I sang it, and I actually cried a little bit. First time I cried about the whole thing, but it was a very good cry. So now I think we probably better get back to some of those hymns that he picked out. And he actually picked out, and he did say somewhere, and he says, "I know I'm getting too long, but I just can't help it." So I will join you and Dave in singing some more hymns.